Hi, buddy. Guts. Hi, buddy. Welcome back, everybody. It is time for another video of a dude who just talks about absolute nonsense while working on his truck. Yes, I think that's the type of content creator I'm going to be. I'm just going to talk about absolute nonsense. Not really. I've been reviewing some of my other videos, and I've realized that they kind of suck. The fact that anybody watches them is a miracle. uh, but right now, continuing where I left off at in the last video, going in, doing this shaved fuel door type design thing. What you're seeing happen in front of you is the second iteration of this. The first iteration, I completely warped the bedside panel. If you go back, watch a YouTube short, I kind of point out the fact, which it's kind of hard to see on camera with all the lights and reflectiveness and the fact that I'm not real good with the camera yet. I'll get there eventually, I promise. Video quality will go up eventually. But yes, this time, instead of just trying to do like a weird lap joint, not taking the time and... let's take a step back. From the last panel I did, it warped the crap out of the bedside. It did. It kind of pulled crinkles in it. I didn't like it. It would have used way too much body filler to make it straight again. So I had to cut it out. And as I was cutting out, the panel itself just relaxed so much more. And you can kind of see it here in frame. There is still a little bit of a wave to it right there on the front side of the bed where the where that panel is at. But it's not impossible to work with at this point. I distorted it so bad I would have had like a 1/4 inch of freaking body filler on the side of the truck, and next thing you know, I'd go down the drag strip. Once this truck is ready, trust me, it's going to go down the drag strip, and the Bondo would have fell off. Let's just put it that way. One of the biggest reasons why it warped as it did, well, it's actually two factors. One, I didn't have the panel gapped right. I wasn't doing a proper butt joint. So the welding technique and patching technique was out of the question. Or out of line, so to speak. But now, as you can see, I got these little clamp thingies from Eastwood. I believe they're called their intergrip panel clamps. And they help maintain a gap so that way you can get a proper butt joint. And the second part where I messed up, which almost anybody can guess this, I was burning way too hot, way too fast. I wasn't taking the time to let it all cool down. As you can see here, I dropped the hood, put a tack, open up the hood, put another tack, and I am kind of shuffling the clamps around trying to get the fit just good enough to where I can work with it and not have to, not have to use excessive amounts of body filler or anything like that. Oh my god, my phone just tripped off. Hopefully it won't be too noticeable in the video. Yeah, gotta put the welding hood on, dummy. It's going to take a minute to get all of this prepped up and ready to go. It's a little bit of back and forth, moving things around, and I am going to voice over this section here, obviously, but yes, I had to slow down, put a little tack here, a little tack there, a little tack there, and I marked out in Sharpie kind of like a weird grid pattern, and I don't follow it at all. I just work my way back and forth, just trying to kind of work my way through it. And this is the section I cut out. As you can see, weld-wise, it penetrated good. Again, still wavy. Not very good at all for what I was trying to do. Too hot, too fast, but it was a full penetration weld, which made me happy because honestly, it's been years since I've actually run a welding machine. kind of one of those things, trying to relearn some things that I've forgotten along the way. And speaking of learning, I am learning the fact that body guys, if you ever take a vehicle to the shop that needs body work or anything like that, especially older vehicles, steel vehicles, and they can do it without, buying a recast or reproduction type skin, and they can go in and, do all the patchwork with just, sheet metal that they have on hand. Hats off to those guys. They deserve every penny they charge, which is one reason why it is necessary to learn how to do some things on your own, so that way you're not just blowing through all your money. Because this project is self-funded. I work copious amounts of overtime when I can, but we're actually fully staffed for a change, so overtime has died down. But there's also things happening in life. I don't always have every day available to me to work in the shop when I'm off. Sometimes other family members need help with their projects they have going on, or with got a lot of weird family stuff going on. But as I progress, you can see tack, 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 tack. It fills in very nicely. And I didn't warp it as bad as last time. It still had a little bit of warpage to it, but it's good enough to where I feel I can clean it up and sand it down smooth. Kind of, make it workable. Make it work for me. And for what I'm going with. This is going to eventually end up being just a good enough build. Different shot. Trying out a new camera, actually. Well, it's my camera that I lent out a long time ago. Finally got it back, and I'm trying to do some recording with it as well. And it has a much better video and audio quality. But I don't do a whole lot of just shop audio of me going around, because the acoustics suck in the shop, period. Like, listening to a grinder over headphones through a video is aggravating. It really is. The acoustics suck. So nothing cleans up nicely. So it's just better for me just to speed things up and voice my opinions. And I do get a little bit aggressive with the 60 grit flap disc that I have on here. I do overheat the battery once or twice. Have to, take my time. Supposed to be taking my time, but sometimes I get a little bit overly focused on what I'm doing that I forget the steps I'm supposed to take. I just kind of keep going. After doing the initial sanding, or the grinding to knock the welds flush and whatnot, take the sander and kind of see where my highs and lows are. Because this is going to take a lot of work to get right. I do still have some creases, so I pulled out this fancy tool that my stepdad loaned to me. In fact, it was brand new in box. He's never used this. He bought it as a replacement for his old one. And I'm using it using the Dent Puller 9000. I can't remember exactly what these called. They weld these little studs in. You use a slide hammer, such as pictured, and try to work the dents out, just pulling them out and get the panel to go the other direction. Now, there is a lot of lost footage that obviously I can't show you. It's lost. But there was a lot of hammering and beating and trying to manipulate this panel, because even though it wasn't as bad as the first patch, I still warped it a little bit. And that's exactly why I'm putting these studs in and using the puller and trying to beat this panel back into shape. I also learned the fact that you can use hammers and dollies to help stretch metal certain ways. But one of the things I learned is the way I was reading the metal was completely backwards from what it was. The places that I thought needed to be shrunk actually needed to be stretched, and vice versa. So there's a... Luckily, I don't have the video of it, so that way y'all can all laugh at me. But there was a time where I was just beating and beating and beating on this panel with a hammer and dolly, trying to stretch material out, just to find out I needed to shrink it there and stretch it, you know, kind of more towards the corner instead of where I was. But this go around, instead of using the little dies or the little weld-on studs and pieces, you can see that here I go with the hammer trying to stretch some material, and I can't remember if this is exactly where it was supposed to be or not, or if this is where I screwed up like I was previously talking about. Again, body work, trying to learn sheet metal work and things like that. It's going to take me a while. Yes, it does. It's going to take me a while to learn things. As you can see, I'm using heat here to kind of help shrink some spots, using the little isolated heat shrink attachment for the what do you call it? Dent Puller 9000 stud welder. I believe that's the correct term for the device I'm using. But yes, I am going to sit there and try to massage it, but basically you're just going to watch me fail. And yes, I am using an old intake gasket as kind of a fairing stick or fairing rod, or something similar to like you would see on shipbuilding, because I have used or watched a lot of like rebuilding of the Tally Ho, Acorn to Elabera, rebuilding Yaba or selling Yaba, but using that as a device to see where my highs and lows at over an average area. But the little spot welder attachment wasn't doing enough for me, and as you can see with the sped up footage, it actually makes me realize how much heat, or what little bit of heat can do to a panel via torch, or what a lot of heat can do actually, because it's pretty hot. But I got a lot to go. By the end of this, I'm kind of happy with the results. I probably got a little bit more fairing I need to do off camera, and then the next steps is pretty much going to be just, you know, body filler and sanding, and getting ready for more big updates on the truck.